So since then, I've been working on this patrolling ship. I came to this point by November 2011, since the establishment of this joint patrolling mechanism. So together, could you please share with us the changes along with the time? In the very beginning, within 1 month, we have upgraded this ship. In the past, it used to be a civil boat used for the shipping and transportation of the goods, and those are the guns. So have you ever used those guns during the patrolling? Not yet. And have you ever encountered any dangerous situation? Of course. Back to the 22nd of May 2013, we have in total seized 570.9 kilograms of drugs. It's shipped by the ship, so that's a very huge volume. And you have mentioned that this is an upgraded version based on a civil boat. Yes, exactly. And in this golden triangle, we have noticed that the situations with the water body and also with the geography are very complicated. And we have also managed several times these river basin. And you know that the Mekong River has run through quite a lot of countries. So it's very difficult for us to manage the whole improvement of the environment. For example, some of the ships, they have encountered some tragedies in the river, and some have even run into accidents, and some people have sadly lost their lives. And you must have accumulated a lot of experience during this past period of time. Yes, nowadays, in the river, we have traveled quite a lot of times. We know the flow of the water, we know the speed of the water body, and we know where should we put and place all those ships. And for our ships, there's no propeller, and it can help us to avoid a lot of accidents, because sometimes there are lots of floating trunks of wood on the surface of the water body. We have already kept a major part of this old boat used as a civil boat, and we have added some more parts. And we also have to add up a lot of engine parts to this boat. Our policemen sometimes have to drag this boat to the shore, and later on we have to fix it. So we have to drag the boat at the same time when we give it the engine force. So it means sometimes we have to place some policemen on the shore in order to drag the boat at the same time. It's very hard for us to imagine, before coming to this place, how challenging this patrolling work could be. During the patrolling, sometimes we cannot tell the depth of the water. So we have to use a very long stick to test it out, to know how deep the water is and how far away we could go. And later on, we could deliver this information to our pilot so that we can better direct the boat and drive it to a safer place. This is the air conditioner. So you have for indoor environment this air conditioner. Before the upgrading of this boat, we used to have this big storage place for the goods. We didn't have this big part above. Now we have created all those holes for the monitoring and also supervision. And those are also barriers to protect our soldiers. Because it's very hot here, that's why we have decided to install the air conditioners. Around the year, the average temperature is about 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. We also have the engines from Cummins. You cannot tell the difference only by the colors. The machines are manufactured back in the year 2004, so they also have a very long history here. And this ship has worked for this joint mechanism for more than 1 decade. More exactly, it's 18 years, because the ship and I myself joined this joint mechanism at the same year. Previously, you worked by the seashore, and now you've come to the Mekong River. What's the difference between the sea operation and the river operation? You know that the Mekong River joint patrolling mechanism is a newly established after the Mekong tragedy. This is the operation office. So let's move up the ladders. This is the room for the pilot. We have the Beidou operation systems to support the ship. Just now you have also mentioned that the traveling of this ship on the Mekong River could be very dangerous and challenging. We have 2 different operating systems, one with the wheel and another with the engine. For example, this side is used for the changements with the direction. I will first deliver the orders, and later my colleagues would do their part of job. So that's it for this part of the pilot's cabin. Usually for a round of the patrolling, how much time does it take? It's about 4 days and 3 nights. You will be living on the ship, right? Yes. The ship would be our house. And we know that today we are living amid this COVID-19, so we refuse to go on shore. What about your living space? This is the restroom. And we have just passed by the kitchen, and over there we have a meeting room. And for this ship, this is the meeting room. We're about to check it out. So you can read over there the joint patrol and law enforcement mechanism for the Mekong River. And we also stay in contact with the headquarters in order to deliver the latest information and also receive orders from the superiors. And now that is the bedroom part. As we can tell, the space is quite limited here. As you can see, From the interior design and all the installations, we don't have a very luxury place to live in. However, still luckily in the summertime, we have this air conditioning working. We have the double beds. So on a daily basis, people can sleep and work down here. We're about to go back to the deck. That's good that you can have some air conditioning, yes. Otherwise, you cannot imagine how life would be here on the deck. After the Mekong tragedy, immediately, we have decided to establish the Mekong River Joint Patrol and the law enforcement mechanism. So time was so limited. That's why we have decided to get, first of all, a civil boat, and then we upgrade this boat and transform it into a military use boat. It's been more than 1 decade that we have applied this boat on the Mekong River in order to have a better knowledge about the river and also the river basin conditions as well as the surrounding areas. This is the earliest version and also the oldest boat. And over there we have much newer boats. That one is much more modernized. And I've also prepared a video clip for our audience. The boat we have just visited is numbered 53101, and that one we're about to visit is numbered 53107. So after the video clip, we'll come back very soon. Welcome back, dear viewers. Just now we have visited the patrolling boat numbered 53101, and now we have already been on board with the 53107. This is the newest version for the joint patrolling fleet, and we have just incorporated this new warship into our joint patrolling for Mekong River yesterday. So let's go nearer to this ship Just now we have listened to the captain of the ship number 53101, and we know that in the past 1 decade they have overcome a lot of difficulties, and now we are receiving the captain of this new boat. Please say hi to everyone. Hello, everyone. So, Mr. Gongbo, could you please show us around, give us a tour on your boat? On the previous boat, you have noticed that we have the barriers that are semi-closed and semi-open in order to protect those soldiers on duty and on guard. And here we have a totally enclosed cabin to safeguard our soldiers. And now when we are on board, we can immediately notice the changes and also the upgrading parts. We have a bigger area inside on board and a very long deck, also equipped with the arms. This is the firing system and also the other installations of the boat, for example, the anchors. On the previous boat, they are using the diesel, and the diesel engine could take up a very big space. On the previous boat, numbered 53101, when they go back to the shore, sometimes they have to put some policemen already on the shore to drag it. And for us, there's no need to do so because we have upgraded this patrolling ship. We have taken the advantages and also the good points from the previous patrolling boat, and we have overcome some existing problems. For the previous old version of the patrolling boat, the speed could be 13 to 14 kilometers per hour, and for our speed, we have doubled that. All those flags, they are the highest level of the rituals. Each time when we kick off a patrolling trip, we will first of all hand out all those flags. That is considered the most grandiose ceremony. And we have just passed by the meeting room. Later on, we will come back to check it out. This is the dining place. It's very limited space. Over there, it's the kitchen. Now people are preparing for the lunch. As you can see, we have many people on board. However, we only have limited space for the cooking. That's why we have to start the preparation work very early. For the cooking installations, we are using the electricity to heat the food. It's much safer. In the past, with the previous boat, we are also using the diesel-fired cooking stools, and sometimes it can bring us the risk of causing fire, and it's also not very clean. So today we have decided to upgrade that kitchen part. And another interesting area of our boat, this is the integrated system for the electricity. For all the terminals of the power system, it's located here. And when we go downstairs, you can see the mechanics of this boat. So maybe we can go downstairs again and check them out. Now in front of us, some mechanics and also the power engine set. It's like the propeller for the whole ship to go forward. With only this set of the power engines, we have enough energy to use to propel the boat. And this set of power engine is 4 times more powerful than the previous set located on the boat number 53101. And now you can imagine the reason why today we can get the boat going forward at a speed that has doubled that of the previous boat. We have this washing area. And now we are back on the deck. We also have this movable dining table. Sometimes when we have more people than expected, we can get some people located on the deck. We have also prepared some extra sets of chopsticks and spoons. Now we will go upstairs. Just now when we visit the patrolling boat number 53111, we know that on the first floor they have only an operation cabin. Yes, exactly. But here we have an integrated room for multiple functions. For example, this is the ground for taking off and landing of the drones. What is the use of the drones? Here are the best tools for the searching and also the patrolling and monitoring in the mid-air. Sometimes when we need to search for something or somebody, it's very useful if we can have a drone. And this is the water cannon. It's not lethal, but still we can use it as a weapon. And if there is a fire accident, we can also use this cannon. It can reach a distance of 100 meters. What is this object? It's for the transmission of the video signals. Because you know, on a regular basis, we stay in contact with our leaders, the superiors. We held the video conferences, so those white objects, they are there to transmit the signals for the conferences. And what about the cell phones? If we travel around Laos and Myanmar, over there we don't have a lot of base stations for the transmission of cell phone signals. That's why we are mainly dependent on this communication system of video conference. This is the self-driven boat. It's also used for patrolling. Sometimes when we have to carry out a rescue case, first of all, we would use the drone to detect the exact position of the person in danger. And then we would launch this self-driven boat. In the past, we have to use the traditional boat, and sometimes when the water is too shallow, we cannot go even further. We have to use the buoyant to save the person in danger, the drowning person. And nowadays, we have much more advanced facilities. For example, the self-driven boat. We have much more flexibility. We don't have to rely on the human force in all the cases. Sometimes we can also have the trust in the machines. I've noticed that everyone is already armed. Yes, of course, when we go out for the patrolling task, we have to get ourselves ready. How many years have you worked here? In total, I've joined the military forces for 2 decades, and I've worked in this area for more than 1 decade. Have you encountered any dangerous cases in the past? Yes, but not too often, and especially after the establishment of the Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Mechanism, the whole river basin area has been securitized. And now we're about to go visit this pilot's cabin. Now we are in the cabin. First of all, this is the piloting area for the operation. The captain would be sitting here, and there's the electronic platform with which the captain could give orders to all the soldiers on board. We also have the surveillance cameras to give us the real-time information about the head and the tail of the ships. And there's no more wheel, as I can tell. Yes, exactly, because we have all the electronic system and facilitations here. It's much easier for us to use only the small buttons to control the direction of the boat. Again, we can go downstairs. We're about to check out the dormitory and also the operation office. As I can tell, you have much bigger space compared to the previous version of the old boat. And we have also interior corridors to connect boat and boat. This is the operation room for the representatives from the Laos. That is a rather cozy space, and we have significantly improved the living and working conditions compared to the oldest version of the patrolling boat. I don't know whether you have noticed that. There is a ventilation space too. Let's go further downstairs. So this layer is to prevent the heat and also to prevent the wind. The ceiling height is a little bit smaller than the previous boat. Because we have this heating system, we have all the tubes, so that's why we have sacrificed a little bit of the space above our head. We also have several beds for our soldiers. This is also the central controlled air conditioning. Now we are getting ourselves from the number 1 area of the dormitory towards the number 2 section. This is the section number 1. We have a much more narrow space. We have to crawl inside. And now let's go again upstairs to check out the operator's room, operator's office. For this kind of newly equipped patrolling boat, how many of them do we have? This is the very first of the whole series. So people are also making kind jokes about this paddling boat. People say that we have prepared over 1 decade in order to present a very good version of the new boat. You know that in the past we only have the paddling boat for the Yangtze River and also some other boats for the paddling on the sea. So we cannot just have the copy version of all those two types of the boats because that will not suit the real-time situation on the Mekong River. That's why we have first of all upgraded a civil boat to begin with, and later on, after a decade, we have developed this exact version of the new paddling boat. Over there, we have the screens, so with those screens, we can stay in contact with our leaders. So now I agree that after 1 decade of hard efforts of researchers and development, you have a brand new boat of all the novelties and also the advances of technology. This boat has been manufactured by a very old and traditional factories of the boat. And that factory is very famous among the Chinese people because it has been first established in the 1800s by Mr. Li Hongzhang. We have invited the engineers on the site so that they can manufacture this boat. I've noticed that this ceremony for the declaration of the opening of this round of 112th Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Mission has just started. In the past, I also worked for the border safeguarding forces. This year, we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Mekong River Basin Law Enforcement and Security Cooperation Mechanism. We have also carried out a lot of patrolling works and demonstrations, and also the military drills. Today, present with us not only the Chinese soldiers, but also representatives from the Army of Laos. When we leave China, the first country that we're about to visit is Myanmar. So from this point forward 20 to 30 kilometers, we're about to get to this connecting spot of the borders between China and Myanmar. And later on, we will further reach a point of the shared borders between China, Laos, and Myanmar. Good morning, sir. I've noticed that today we have invited a lot of well-experienced soldiers to this mission. We have been selected since the very first day of establishment of this security cooperation mechanism. We are born in the same year, but he's joined the army 2 years earlier than me. I believe that you are the best person to describe this mission because you have joined the mission since the very beginning. Could you please share with us some stories that you can never forget? I came from the Jiangsu province. The first time when I came to Yunnan province, I was not used to the food and also the climate. I would never forget one day that by 11 p.m., When I was on the bed, there's a snake crawling towards me, and finally the snake has rested on my face. I've been working in Laos for 11 months. Sorry to interrupt. I've noticed that this launching ceremony of the 112th Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Mission is about to start. The fleet is ready. Could we kick off the trip? Yes. Now we can officially launch the mission of the patrolling boats for Mekong River. This is the 112th Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Mission. Now we can hear the sirens. This means the 112th Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Task is officially launched. It would take 4 days and 3 nights. I believe that with the new engines equipped with the boat, we can run at a faster speed. So with the new ship, it can take shorter time for you to complete the whole round of patrolling. Yes, of course. Especially for the returning of the boat. This is also a lightweight warship. You can also see the shape of the total boat. They're about to go on board. No, they're just here to bid farewell to our soldiers on board. So over the past 1 decade, every time when we kicked off a mission of patrolling and law enforcement, you were on board, and now you have to stay on shore. What is your feeling? I'm so happy for them, because this time we have upgraded the fleet, we have the new boats. We can show off our military forces in this dangerous golden triangle on the Mekong River. I believe that we can better crack down the criminal forces and better protect the people around this river basin area. It's very good for us to have this new fleet, and I'm very proud of them. So that is the pilot's boat. Later on, we're about to launch the trip. Every time at this particular moment of the departure, what is your feeling? I'm always excited, and I'm very happy for the mission. And every time when we go out for a new task of the patrolling and law enforcement, we feel like it's always the first time for us to take the mission, and we're always very passionate about our job, and we will do our best to secure this mission and make sure that we can complete the whole task. So for this new trip of 4 days and 3 nights, what are the tasks? I'm sorry, I cannot give you further details, because that is a secret. Every time you can have different tasks, right? Yes. It can differ from time to time, and we have to draft our plans of the patrolling and law enforcement according to the real demands. And now in front of us, dear audience, is the new patrolling boat, number 53107. First of all, we have a very small boat to go as the first one. It has a total length of the boat 15 meters, and later on the two bigger warships would follow. They don't have the propellers. They're much more safer. That smaller boat, with a total body length of 15 meters, they can run at a lower speed compared to the two bigger ones. However, the biggest advantage of that smaller boat is the flexibility. And I believe that you cannot use this parameter, the speed, to compare the capacity of the larger boats and the small boats. Because usually for the larger warships, we have to keep a relatively slower boat, especially when we travel past the other countries. We don't want to disturb anyone, especially our foreign friends. The goal for us being there is to protect the people and also the boats. Now we are celebrating the 112th Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Task. Now we have already established a patrolling calendar. So we have a fixed number of patrolling and law enforcement missions to complete every month. So to the left-hand side, we have the old boat, and to the right-hand side, the new boats to go for this new round of the patrolling mission. Just now, when we discussed about your past experiences, you mentioned the new food and also sometimes the animals, the local, like the snakes. And what about the other dangers that you have encountered during the patrolling? In 2012, during the third round of the joint patrolling mission, also it's by the night, our boat was stranded. First of all, it was the other boat that was stranded on the shore, and we have decided to go and rescue that stranded boat. However, we ourselves, with our boat, have also been stranded on the shore because the water is really shallow by that area. So we have to use our own hands to drag the boat. Once it's stranded on the shore, we have to get it out. It's like our boat is just sitting there on the shore and on the bed of the river instead of floating on the river body. And now, as we can tell, this new fleet of boats is about to kick off their new round of patrolling. We have both the soldiers from China and Laos. So when we reach the water area of Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand, how can we carry out this joint mission? In the past, before COVID-19, usually the countries would send their soldiers to China, to the Xishuangbanna Prefecture of the Yunnan province, and together we have the soldiers from all the countries. The four countries are China, Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand. We can also expect to see the boats from those countries. And today we have to join them by their side due to the considerations of safety against COVID-19. So after the establishment of this Mekong River joint patrolling and law enforcement mechanism, luckily there's no major tragedy happening on the river basin area. And also on the deck, I can see some journalists. They will travel together with the soldiers in order to memorize this historical moment of 10 years anniversary of the establishment of the Mekong River Joint Patrolling and Law Enforcement Mechanism. And it's like we are growing older together with a boat. And I also would like to present my best wishes for a successful completion of the tasks of this new fleet. Now we can hear the sirens again, and we have the policemen and also the representatives from the law enforcement departments standing by the shore to bid farewell to our soldiers on board. And as we can tell, that patrolling boat is turning around. And now that patrolling boat numbered 53107 has become the leading boat of the whole fleet. Now we are witnessing the departure of the 112th Joint Mekong River Patrolling. And that operation ship is the newest version for the patrolling mechanism. We have upgraded the whole boat, and the boat is equipped with a lot of facilitations. And before closing our program today, I have some extra questions. And you have been a captain for the very early boats, for the patrolling mechanism. What is your feeling and what are your best wishes for the new version of the boats? I'm so deeply touched today. I can look back on the road that we have traveled through, and after 10 years of hard efforts and work, today we have realized our dreams. We have welcomed new fleet and boats to join this patrolling mechanism. I wish very big success to the 112th round of the Mekong River Joint Patrolling. Thank you very much. And to wrap up, I would like to show you more video clips. So, dear viewers, you can have a better understanding about this joint patrolling mechanism. And please stay tuned to enjoy the video clips. That's all from my side. Thank you.